Hi, thanks for stopping by. So, I started this day by trying to do mid-month tarot readings. To be honest, it didn't feel, it feels like there is more to be talking about right now. So I just wanted to check in with everyone around how you're feeling. I know for myself, these are strange times. There is so much happening in this country and around the world. I speak directly to the United States because that's where I live. There's so much happening that is, or at least feels, out of our control right now. And much of it, I don't know about you, but for me, much of this is quite scary, quite concerning, and is affecting it's affecting me, and I'm sure it's affecting all of us. I know I'm not alone in this. So I wanted to pop on here and talk a little bit about how we keep going, how we manage our mental health, how we manage the feelings that are coming up, and what to do about all of this. So for me, I know anxiety is a big one. I have a lot of anxiety, and I'm not someone who ever, pre-pandemic, ever had any anxiety. I have it all the time now. If you find yourself in that category, gosh, you're not alone. You're not alone. So many of us, I think, are getting up every day and going to work, or working from home, or tending to our families and tending to our children, or trying to have what's left of a summer, trying to act like everything is normal, except nothing feels normal, right? I have glimpses of normal here and there, as I'm sure you do. But for the most part, there isn't much that feels normal right now. Okay. So you may find an increase in depression, an increase in anxiety, sleeplessness, lethargy, crying, numbing out, some of those things we talked about initially when I first started the channel. You may find that those things are, you're engaging in those activities more and more, or these feelings are starting to come up more and more. Or maybe you're feeling great, and if so, fabulous. Share with us in the comments how you are maintaining that. But I think for a lot of us, we're exhausted. The fight is real. It's been ongoing for almost 4 years now. Please believe and know that the intent is to exhaust us so that we won't fight back. But we need to continue the fight, right? So let's talk about ways to, first of all, I'm a firm believer in naming what we're going through, talking about it, acknowledging it, and speaking the truth, right? We don't get anywhere if we live in a fantasy land, like everything will just miraculously change come January. We don't know if we're going to have a fair election. We don't even know if we're going to have an election in this country. I think it's worth talking about our fears around that, and acknowledging the fact that, there's a very real possibility. Look around. Look around. I don't know about you, but I'm not getting my mail. like I used to. Are you? Um, this is serious, folks. So, with serious situations come serious consequence. Consequence for our country, consequence for us as people, consequence for our mental health, right? So, one of the things that I know gets triggered in a lot of people is this sense of being lied to, right? We are being lied to every single day. We have been lied to every single day for 4 years. We were lied to before that as well. So let's not pretend that any one party or any one group has a monopoly on lies, right? That's ridiculous. Although the extent with which we are being lied to now, it's a tsunami, and it has been a tsunami for 4 years, right? So make no mistake that the intent, like I said, is exhaustion, so that we will not fight back. So taking breaks is important and continues to be important. If you are someone who gets services through the mail, if you get a check to keep you afloat, if you get medications, I urge you to call your representatives and tell them what is going on. Do not be silent about this. Your very life may depend on it. Okay? Speak out in whatever way that you do that. If it's phone calls, if it's emails, if it's texts, if it's protests, whatever it is, right? Speak out. But how do we keep ourselves sane during insane times? Right. So one of the ways that I find for myself that works is to talk about it, right? To speak the truth. But I'm someone who does that no matter what. So if that isn't something that comes natural for you, this is going to be really difficult. Find platforms where other people are speaking the truth. Again, like I always say, find tribe, the like-minded people that you can have real conversations with about what is going on. One of the things that's being challenged for us right now is we are being, in the lies that we're being told, the message is that what you're seeing with your own eyes and what you are hearing with your own ears is not happening, right? Classic abuse. Perhaps you grew up in a household, I know I did. I grew up in a household where that was daily, where what I saw and heard, I was told every day that was not in fact true. So what ends up happening is that you lose your ability to trust your own judgment. Your own sense of reality is challenged every day. And when that happens, you begin to believe perhaps that you are the crazy one and that everyone around you is more sane and knows the truth, and that you cannot rely on yourself, your own internal knowing, right? I did this video on intuition yesterday. That is the very thing that gets trampled and lost when you are lied to all the time and told that what you see, hear, and know is inaccurate, even though you know it's true. So, tuning out the lies, okay? There's a certain amount of staying in the loop that we need to do. We do not need to inundate ourselves with bullshit. So I tell everyone, I tell my clients, I tell everyone, limit your news consumption. Follow reliable sources. Okay. Talk to people in your circle, in your tribe, in your community for reassurance, for validation, for camaraderie, something we all need right now, right? The pandemic has been a perfect breeding ground for gaslighting us, it's having its effect on our mental health because, excuse me, we have been in lockdown for quite some time, which for some folks means being totally alone, for other folks meaning being in a very small environment, maybe just your family members, right? And so maybe they're not people who agree with you. Maybe they're not people who see things the same way you do. Maybe they don't validate you, right? So now that there's a loosening around lockdown, you can re-engage with people, have conversations, truthful conversations around what's happening and what we can do about it. Okay, keeping it local always makes it feel more manageable, has been my experience anyway. Trusting your instinct, trusting your intuition, getting back in touch with that part of you that knows, right? And tapping into that. For good, sound mental health, we need to get enough sleep. We need to eat food that nourishes us. Basically, we need nourishment in all ways. We need it in our tribe. We need nourishment from people, as I just said, that support us, love us, understand us, that we can talk openly and honestly with. We need good food. We need to be in environments that are supportive, right? That can be difficult to find right now. Having to walk away from unsupportive environments can feel impossible in a time like this, right? I always urge it, but I also understand the constraints. I also understand how absurd it can sound from someone like me to say, like, walk away from environments that aren't supportive, even if it's your job. Like, I get it. And so that's why I'm always saying, like, nourish yourself around you in all ways that you possibly can, because sometimes walking away from situations that don't nourish isn't always a possibility, right? Keeping yourself engaged in movement, exercise, getting outside, going for walks. I know I sound like a broken record. I say it all the time, but it really is nurturing and supportive, and that's what we need. We need to feel nurtured and supported because we're not, our government is not nurturing or supporting us. We're being left to find our own way. We are being left to deal with an unrestrained virus. We're being forced and faced with decisions we didn't think we'd ever have to face, right? Livelihood over safety. Children in school, meaning parents' ability to work or not, versus their health and safety, as well as your own. Staying in unsupportive, awful job situations because there are no alternatives right now. Needing healthcare benefits, so having to stay in unsupportive environments. Okay. Living in poverty. So many people have to choose between health and food right now. So, creating community, which is why I wanted to start this channel. I do a lot of tarot because I think that tarot nourishes the soul. It gives us the energies on tap, and it gives us another way of finding hope in an otherwise hopeless situation or hopeless situations, which is why I tap into that. I feel that it is a valuable and worthwhile healing modality. And so finding those other modalities that feel healing, supporting your local businesses if you can, in whatever way you can, so that we can continue to live in communities that are not monopolized by large business that doesn't care about us, treats its employees like garbage, makes a profit at the expense of workers. This is huge right now. We are run by corporations and insurance companies. no clearer example on tap than mental health in this country right now. That's a whole nother video that I may or may not indulge, speak about, but it's a crime what's happening in mental health right now. An absolute crime. Because insurance companies are running the show. So, as are pharmaceutical companies. Yeah. So, keeping yourself afloat right now is really important. And again, I'm going to say it over and over and over again. Be with people who support you. Find community. Find tribe. It's never been more important. If you live in a locale that is not speaking to your needs, it may be time to start to explore other areas. And I know that can sound like a dream, like a fantasy for a lot of folks. I get it. I know that. I have experienced that at various times in my life. So I know that it's not always possible. But I also know that a lot more is possible than we give credence to. A lot more is possible in our lives than we allow for. A lot more is possible than we are being told and fed right now, which is why it's so vitally important to begin to envision the life, the world you want to live in, the country you want to live in, the life that you want to have. It's really important to visualize it, to write it out, to feel yourself within that environment. Universal law states that whatever we think about is what comes to us. So mind your thoughts. I say this all the time. Mind your thoughts. And by that I mean do not stay engaged in everything that's wrong. Remain in the energy of what you are grateful for and what is right. And by right, I mean what is working, the kind of environment you want to be in. It's so important right now. I do something called scripting, where I write out my life. I write out the life that I want to have, but I don't think about it in terms of a dream for someday. I write it as though it's already here. I think about it as though it's already here. I visualize it as though it's already here. I feel it. I allow it to wash over me. I allow myself to see myself living that life, living within that community, living within that country, right? The way I want it to be. I inhabit it every day to make it a reality. I urge you to give this a try. And it's not a one-shot deal. It's not you don't do this for a month and everything changes. This is a practice like any other that we need to engage with daily, weekly, month after month, right? We have to continue to engage in these practices. They work, but they don't work overnight, right? Nothing happens, boom, like that. We have to really work with these energies over time. I urge it. A tarot practice, I will continue to offer readings because I do think that I find them very valuable. Anything that gives hope is of value, right? It heals. These practices heal. They speak to the archetypal energies. They speak to the human condition. For that reason, I will continue to offer that. Move around. Speak the truth. Even if you feel afraid, speak the truth. Call it out where you see it. Live in alignment with the life and the country and the world that you want to be in. Be in alignment with that now. Can't stress it enough. It improves our mental health, it really does. Find uplifting, supportive resources. Read things that uplift your spirit. Find authors for whom you respect, who have also struggled during horrific times. People who have survived the Holocaust, people who have survived the Depression, people who have survived racism for 400 years. You know, there are so many people and resources available to us because we think that, you know, this is just happening now. No, my God, this has been happening forever. Forever. So find authors of color, find indigenous resources for folks who have always fought oppression, who have always found a way to continue to support their inner lives, their inner worlds, and their communities. There are so many folks who've been doing this since the beginning of time. Find those resources. Soak them up, read them, share them. Okay? And talk about it. Please leave comments in the comments below. You know, if you're struggling, if your mental health is suffering, if you don't have the resources, please leave comments below. We can start a dialogue. People, you know, we need each other, right? We need each other. And everybody has a different strength. Everybody has different resources. Everybody has a different way. They know more than we do, right? And so please, I urge you to leave comments below. If there are particular mental health issues you're struggling with, certainly you can email me. I'll leave my information. I always leave it in the description box below if you'd like to have a more private conversation. If not, everyone benefits when we have open, honest conversation. So please, I encourage dialogue. I encourage comments. I encourage a community where we can come together and speak the truth about what we're feeling and experiencing. Okay. I hope you find this helpful. I find it helpful just to come on here and have these talks every once in a while. I need to process as well. I need to you know, we're all experiencing this. We're all trying to get through it in one way or another. Okay, so thank you. Thanks for stopping by and listening. I'll get back to my mid-month tarot readings. I did do a couple this morning. I will find my way back on that path and get those out shortly. Okay, thank you. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you again for stopping by.